Today's show is sponsored by Adventures Unlimited Press. Take your mind on a literary journey and go to adventuresunlimitedpress.com to purchase books from our famed experts right here on Truth Be Told. That's adventuresunlimitedpress.com.
What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Welcome back to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie, and thank you for coming back for another wonderful hour.
Our next guest is Mark the Dream Peebler. He's lived in Southern California since his teens, and early in his career he realized that his life was only going to be whatever he made of it. And over the decades, he's refined this perspective on how to create, attract, and manifest the desired life experiences that his heart desired.
The material Dr. Dream represents is not new. It is information that's actually been around since the beginning of time.
But what he's done is spun it into creative reinterpretations for the upcoming generations, Tony. He's widely praised for his unique personal approach to energy transference, as well as sharing his perspective with others. If you want to learn more about how to make your dreams into a reality, then please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Dream.
There he is, Dr. Dream in the house.
Wow.
How you doing?
This is exciting.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, we're excited and happy to have you here because I'm ready to talk some dream. I have a lot of dreams to talk about. No, just kidding. 21 days to change. Dream the biggest dream. And so I keep hearing that song, to dream the impossible dream. Don't make me start singing. But so tell us about how you manifested your life into creating a book and creating this empire for yourself, because it's changing lives.
Well, really what happened in my life is, I believe, what happens at some point in everyone's life, and that is they very with great focus and attention, ask themselves, is this really what it's about? Is this really what I'm to be doing? And at the time, for me, I had a very successful web development company, a couple hundred clients, and I had always I knew I was here to do big work with a lot of people. And my time with the web development, I had always spun it that, well, you know, I'm helping people out here. I'm helping people find abundance. But then it got to the point where even that rationalization wasn't enough to keep me happy. It was like I was so ready to expand beyond all of that. Hence, Dr. Dream was born.
Well, and I always think that things in our life are always happen for a reason in the time that we can handle it. Up to that point, did you feel like this type of transition into what you're doing now, before that, do you think you could have handled what you're doing now?
I woke up this morning, I wasn't sure if I could handle what I'm doing now. I think that it's hard to say. I mean, you know, I can look back and say, well, if I had done this a little differently, or if I had sold my company sooner. As it happens, as soon as I made the decision to move out of the company and to be Dr. Dream full time, some old partners of mine stepped up, wanted to buy the company, and I immediately went from big abundance, lots and lots of money, although not so fulfilling, to being Dr. Dream and, oh my gosh, where did all that money go? And now what do I do and how do I do this and what is it about? So I made the comment to someone the other day, I've been full-time on the road living in a 26-foot travel trailer since last October. And I made the comment to someone the other day that more uncertainty than any other time in my life and yet more inner peace than any other time.
Wow.
Wow, that's the way to do it.
That
So
is
you're
the way to do it.
definitely, obviously following your heart more than you ever have before, right?
Following it, allowing it to expand in each moment, and just really being in my path and mission. And thrilled that people keep showing up. And the tour of love is what I call it. You can check out the site touroflove.com. The tour of love just gets to continue.
I love that. What is the number one object of affection in your line of doing your Dr. Dream work? Meaning, obviously, you enjoy all of it, but what is the number one highest frequency object of your affection as Dr. Dream?
What a strange question. Or maybe I'm not understanding the wording. I mean, when you say object of my affection as Dr. Dream or as Mark Peebler, certainly it's my sacred union partner, Laura Eisenhower. Beyond that, I'm not sure where you were going. I'm not sure if that was it.
What's your favorite aspect of doing your Dr. Dream work?
Okay, so what I do is, in a nutshell, is I raise frequency. And so anytime, anywhere that I have the opportunity, which is in each moment, to assist people in raising frequency, that is incredibly thrilling. Now, I have a signature experience, I guess we would call it, if you will, called a Universal Love Galactivation. And I've done more than 250 of these since January of 2010. This is a pretty powerful experience, and every time I do one, and they're all different, I feel completely filled up with energy and vibrating at a very high frequency.
Well, now these are 250 that you've done in your experience or that you've done to activate in others or both?
That I've facilitated.
Oh, wonderful. So if you felt that good, explain how the people you facilitated it with feel.
Well, we get quite the variety of responses from people. At festivals where we've done this, they've allowed me to do it in as part of the closing ceremony several years at Lightning in a Bottle, and we were set up for several years at Burning Man. And at those types of energetics involved with those festivals, people are already wide open. So I would say when we do it in that environment, maybe 2/3 of the people end up in tears just because of the release. Obviously, it's a little different when you've been driving in traffic and you have to get to a location and then, park and then go in. They're not quite at that really wide open energetic level. But what people feel is an expansion of their heart space. They feel a higher frequency vibration in their being and in their field.
Oh, I love that. Now, I know what frequency means for me in your line of work, in your brand. Will you define frequency for Tony's audience?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to make a joke and say, well, that just means it happens a lot. Oh, wait, frequently. So humor also is high frequency. So frequency, and I talk about this in my presentations. To me, reality, the nature of our reality is very much a frequency game. And everything has a frequency. We're all energy, and so everything has a frequency. There's studies that have been done on the average body frequency, which is between 62 and 68 megahertz. And then you get down in frequency to 58, and you're susceptible to colds and flu. 55, Epstein-Barr, Candida, and on down the line. 42 is the frequency of cancer in the body. And at 25 or 20, the body starts to die. So we start to understand that, wow, frequency is very important. And so all sorts of things can raise your frequency. So I'm sure there's a scientific explanation to this, but I'm really all about the feeling body, the emotional body. And we talk quite a bit about like the rose frequency, rose being the highest frequency essential oil, the highest frequency naturally occurring that we can attach ourselves to is rose otto essential oil. It comes in at 320 on the scale. Just to
Wow.
give you an idea, fresh organic herb dried herbs come in somewhere between 20 and 35 on the scale. So if I was trying to raise my frequency just from the cold level of 58 to average body frequency of 62, I'm looking for things that will do it very much. They say a positive mental focus can raise your frequency 12 points if that's how you're focusing your energy.
God, I love that. Where did you cultivate your sense of humor? Have you always had it, or did you find that you needed to bring it in to continue to raise the frequency?
I've always had it. My father told just the most, I mean, as a child, my brother and I would listen to my father and just roll our eyes. And sure enough, I just spent 6 days with my soon to be 15-year-old daughter, who laughs with me more than anyone else, but still does her fair share of rolling her eyes at her father.
Then so that means you've done your job.
And
Right,
you've
exactly.
yeah, you've done it well, obviously.
Well, when people come to you, frequency is, like you said, is in all different ways. Do you feel more people come to you with lower frequencies spiritually, mentally, physically? Where do you feel that they are most lacking
Or monetarily.
or monetarily?
Well, this is great. And really, I consider myself a holistic healing practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And so that question leads me into everything's connected. So the money thing is connected to whatever's going on emotionally. Lots of times, well, certainly everything on the physical body is connected to the emotional body. And so over the years, I've just developed a knack or an ability to hold space for people and to assist them in getting to the root of whatever is going on. But absolutely, for sure, whatever people come to me with, we're going to dive into the emotional body.
Wow. And the emotional body first, because that's where we start seeing the manifestations in ourselves, meaning we feel it first and then we'll start manifesting it, negative or positive. Is that right?
Well, yes, and the reason that I say, we always go into the emotional body is that so often for people, and I get a wide variety of people that come to me and then that I get to meet and have the opportunity to assist. But it's really important to get us into a place of understanding how much of it is us and what's coming from us and what it's connected to. And so it's really about being so empowered that you're ready to take responsibility for whatever it is you're looking to change. And people don't come to me unless they're looking to change something.
And when people do come to you, do you notice the immediate transformation, or do you have some people that still take a few sessions with you to really start to take notice of the results?
So here's the thing, and I have people come to me and they say, oh, I wish I would have awakened sooner. I wish I would have, gone through this process years ago or something like that. I think it's really important to understand that, like I set my alarm for 6:30 in the morning. I know that people set their alarm before 6:30 in the morning. I know that people are waking up in the morning earlier than I am, but I choose to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and it's not in comparison with what anyone else is
Right.
doing. And it's really the same thing with energy work and this kind of intensive emotional body work that we do and changing perspectives and changing belief systems. It's all in due time for people. I will say I've had some pretty amazing experiences with people. The first person that came to me asking help with uterine fibroids, tumors in the uterus.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she had five fibroids, five tumors, one the size of her fist. And I said, what would you like from me? And she said, I'd like you to help me make them smaller. And I said, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Why are we doing that? And she said, because I've got surgery in 3 weeks and I want it to be less invasive. And I said, great. I will take you on as a client because you believe and you know. Now, while we're doing that, do you mind if we go one step further? You already know, as I do, that we can make them smaller. So just goes reasoning would say we can make them disappear. Are you open to that? And she said, yes. It took 8 or 9 sessions to work with her on this, and they went away. And she
Wow.
canceled her surgery. And this is 6 or 7 years later, no recurrences. Now, based on the way the energies are today, the morphogenic field, and also based on a person's own belief system, I'm pretty sure I could do that same work in 2 sessions over the phone with someone. So, but the people have to believe. And so sometimes it might take a little longer to get us to that place. Remember, a lot of what we're clearing out right now, we've spent 10, 20, 30, 40 years programming, conditioning ourselves to own it. And
Right.
now, it's like, oh, gee, that doesn't serve me anymore. Let's clear it out. Sometimes one session, sometimes it may take a little longer.
And I think that's a true statement of when you said the belief systems, where most people say that's BS, because what many of what we've been taught for, like you said, 10, 20, 30, 40 years
Lifetimes.
have affected our energy field and our frequency to that keep us from manifesting what we want in life. So when you say taking responsibility for our lives, I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people to do, is taking responsibility for their flaws, their faults, and even their ability to be successful. Some people are scared of success. So how does one take responsibility for our lives?
I think it's just really being conscious and in the moment and knowing yourself so well that you can understand how you're working energy and what you're doing. And then also, I don't look at back on my life and look at anything in terms of faults or things like that. I've had challenging times in my life. I have learned lessons, some in an easy way and some in a very difficult way. But in my talks, I often say, if I had this magic ability and I could offer all of the listeners right now an opportunity to go back to any time in their life and they could do something or many things differently. I'm pretty sure that, like myself, people would have a list. And these are times in our lives where we'd like to go back and say something we didn't say, or I mean, not say something we
Right.
did say, or something like that. And just for fact that we would have a list of times that we would go back to and do something differently. A lot of people would call that screw ups and all sorts of other colorful language about it. But to me, those are all lessons learned. And this is the time then. Make that list of what you would go back and change, and then realize you can't go back and change it. But what you did was every item on that list is a lesson you learned and you were successful. I mean, so no failures here. We, as far as I can tell, we came here to be embodied as humans here to grow, learn, and evolve. That means we're going to fall down. I love the metaphor of a child barely able, not even able to roll over yet, then able to roll over, then can crawl, then starts to stand up, falls, starts to stand up, falls over and over and over and over again. If you look at that child, would you ever say once that that child failed because it fell? No, actually, when the child falls, we're all saying, "Yay, that was great." I mean, I wish we did that as adults. When one of us makes a mistake, for the rest of us to say, "Yeah, way to go," because that's it. You're learning the lesson. That is a success. And look at us; we all walk pretty well now.
But what about those people that continually make the same mistake over and over and over and over, that come to you and say, "I'm still making the same mistake," and is that just helping them increase the frequency to accept those things? Like, listen, I keep making the same mistake, but I'm gonna make it until I finally get it. I mean, how do we get past that point?
I have a favorite saying, and thank you so much for leading me into it. And
Oh,
that
anytime.
saying is everything serves you. It serves you until you change it, until you stop doing it. And that goes for all those patterns that you're talking about. That goes for addictions.
Hmm.
That goes for low vibe stuff. I'm not saying that it just sort of takes the pressure off. What happens is, as we're awakening and as we're getting into this energetic of looking at our stuff,
Hmm.
there's a little bit of a trap there of us wanting to beat ourselves up when we start to finally recognize our patterns and start to recognize our addictions. And if we're not quite ready to snap our fingers and get rid of them like that, and some of us can, and some of us it takes a little while longer, then we need something to release the pressure of recognizing that this isn't the best way to be, but we're in a process. And so I love that. It serves you until you stop doing it. And
That's
at
true.
that moment, it stops serving you. Kind of takes all that BS in our brains and everything out of it and allows us to be in a process and to take care of ourselves in that process.
Out of the go ahead. Ed.
No, go ahead.
Out of the people that you've worked with, besides the thyroid, can you give us, not maybe not the names, but just some examples of your success stories, and that could inspire some of our listeners that are maybe going through the same thing, and to seek people like yourself to help increase their frequency?
Absolutely. I have a client who is an artist. She's a very prolific artist. She has a studio full of her art, but her block is that she doesn't feel she's not energetically been in a place where she could sell it. That's been her fear, is going out there and selling it, feeling like it makes her vulnerable and this and that. And so we've been working, and she's been offered a show in Mount Shasta this past week. She's got more artwork up now down in Southern California where she lives. And every week when I speak with her for our weekly call, she's expanding even more and just facing her fears. I have another person that's working with me who she's all about spoken word. But when we first met in person, she really hadn't done any. That was April 18th. And from then until now, she has just immersed herself in it. Each new opportunity she gets is that much bigger than the last one. She's facing her fears head on, and she's coming out on top. And these people that I just described, they inspire me. I can't wait to have my phone call with them and have contact with them, because we're all here to inspire each other. We're all here to show each other what it's like to be bold and to be empowered. And even for me, watching my clients gives me more permission to be that much more expansive and to open up that much more.
I love that, and I think there's a lot of people that just need that little encouragement, or what we'd say kick in the ass, just to get them to move forward to reach for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about a 15-second break to thank our sponsors, and then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the sessions
And how they go.
Yes, and how they work. All right, so don't go anywhere. This is Truth Be Told. I'm Tony Sweet.
I'm Eddie Connor.
Be right back. We hope you're enjoying today's show, which is sponsored by Earth Friendly Products. For over 40 years, Earth Friendly Products have brought you the greenest home merchandise for all your family needs. Learn more at ecos.com. That's ecos.com. Now back to the show.
Back to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. I'm Eddie Connor.
I'm Tony Sweet.
And we have in our second hour here, we have Dr. Dream, which is Mark Peebler. He's known as Dr. Dream. He's been talking to us about how you can shift habits, change things in order to make your dreams a reality. We want to ask him now about the sessions. Tell us a little bit about the sessions you're currently doing with people, Dr. Dream.
Okay, well, I do a number of different types of sessions. I'm considered a multiple modality practitioner. And so, it just sort of depends on what's going on with the client. But sessions typically include a bit of talking to identify where the energy's at, and then crystals, essential oils, lots with essential oils. You know, I mentioned the rose frequency before. I work with the doTERRA essential oils, and they are the consistently most powerful essential oils that I've had the pleasure of working with. Tuning forks. Right now I'm traveling with 80 Tibetan healing bowls from a village in Nepal, 30 kilometers from the epicenter of the
Wow.
earthquake. Quite a sacred economic business model going on with that. But then also the frequency of these bowls are absolutely unbelievable. I work with a couple of different types of lasers, crystals, all sorts of other things. It's really fascinating getting it all laid out. If the sessions are here in the trailer, every open space is covered with tools and modalities, including a big 55-pound citrine generator crystal. It's a very high frequency experience. And then my partner Laura Eisenhower and I do what we call dream team sessions, and it's like tag team healing, and very powerful. And when we're at events together and traveling together, we really like doing those.
Wow. What is the most what is the most I'm trying to figure out how to word this. In your opinion, out of all of the years you've been doing this, what was the number one thing that stood out to you the most that just literally blew your mind as Dr. Dream?
Wow. You've been doing this for a while because that's a great question. You don't find Dr. Dream speechless very much. For me, it's 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 meeting people. All right, here's the bottom line. I think it takes a hell of a lot of courage for every single one of us to be embodied as a human right now. And what touches me so deeply is anyone that comes into my field and is ready to work on their stuff. I mean, really ready. And I have the delight of meeting these people every single day. And sometimes it's just a 5-minute conversation, and sometimes it's a full-on session. But I look to be inspired by people. I have a deal in my life experience, and that is even someone I just perceive walking down the street has some bit of inspiration for me. And so everyone I perceive in my reality, I look to be inspired. And that drives me on. You know, I haven't chosen a very easy path going from city to city. I'm in a new city every 4 to 7 days. And literally, I lay in bed for a bit in the morning to build myself back up for my reality. And it's the people. It's all about the people. And I've been blessed in every single moment that I'm present with open hearts and reflection of a loving source that we are all part of.
Thank you for the answer for that. I appreciate it. When you find yourself, because we're all human, when you're high
think so.
frequency, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you're summoning the energy that creates worlds. That's very obvious. But when you're having a pissy ass day, what is it that you do to give yourself sort of that psychic, energetic B12 shot to your soul that just sort of snaps you out of it?
There are mornings that I wake up and it's not unusual for me to cry for a bit and release whatever the day before was about, or whatever's blocking me from embracing the day. I hold space for everyone I come into contact with. I hold space for me. And it's myself and my service animal, Jake, a 12-year-old dog I travel
Aw.
with. Really, I'm his service human. I just spend more time with him. I don't load up my schedule so much. I mean, I turned 50 last October, and I don't need to go like I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I'm still loading it on, but I'm giving myself a lot of space and room, and I'm loving myself. And then I'm putting the rose frequency oil on, and the doTERRA oils on, and with all these modalities basically within reach of me, whatever I'm doing, I'm really taking care of myself.
This is a common question, but it's one of my favorite ones, and that is, you're 50 now. Go back to your 20-year-old self, and in just one sentence, what does your 50-year-old self say to the 20-year-old self? And then in one answer, what is it that the 20-year-old self says back to the 50-year-old self?
Well, my 50-year-old self would probably say to my 20-year-old self, good job really approaching everything from the perspective of heroic doses, a la Terence McKenna. That's going to serve your expansion well. And my 20-year-old self would say, well, thank you for that. It seems like everything turned out well. So I guess we're doing it the way we should be.
Good.
That's
good.
That's good. That is good. Okay, you've done a lot of lectures and workshops. So, what are the most common, maybe top 2 questions that people ask you on your circuit usually?
Well, because everything for me is about raising frequency, people want to know not just how to raise their frequency, because that's pretty simple,
Right.
you know, we just splash it with some oils and stuff, but how to hold your frequency. And so that's kind of a big one. And the answer is really just, you know, being present and allowing yourself and you know, really watching what it is that you do that allows your frequency to go below where you would like it to go. And so really, you know, it's all about paying attention and being present and being on the path of expansion. I tell people if they're not uncomfortable, at least a little bit uncomfortable in their lives, they're absolutely stuck in a rut and they better do something about it. Because when you're pushing the envelope and you're expanding, expect to be a little bit uncomfortable. Not so uncomfortable that it stops you from doing it, but, you know, growing pains.
Yeah, it's like being vulnerable. It's a good thing to put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable, whether it's walking up to somebody you think is cute and going, how you doing? Or
Does that work?
I have no idea. I've never done it.
But I want to say something about this word vulnerable. People throw it around like it implies weakness. Like people say to me all the time, "I honor you for being so vulnerable," and like it's and I share with people that it's I don't even like the word anymore because there is this connotation of weakness and. That's not at all. Me being vulnerable or what people perceive as me being vulnerable is me being authentic. And me being authentic is me standing in my power. And there's no greater power than that. So this whole thing about being vulnerable, show your feelings, show who you are, be authentic. That's your strength.
All right, I'm just gonna cry right now, just because. No, I was kidding. But okay, so I want to talk about the book before we run out of time. 21 days to change, and I love that you put 21 days. But why 21? Why not a month? Why not 3 months? Why not a week?
And it's not because you want to be 21. You've established that.
21 days is the commonly held time frame that most people are in agreement, or scientists or whoever figures this stuff out, that it takes to stop doing something or to start doing something new. And so it makes the most sense. This is it was developed as a workbook, but then that just spoke of too much work. And I'm like, screw that. So we call it a playbook. It's 105 pages, fill in the blank. It's a PDF for $4.50 off my website. But if any of your listeners send me an email at drdream.com, and you can go to drdream.com or any of my sites and get my email address and ask me for this link for the PDF, I will send it to them as my gift. And I'll also offer them a 15-minute phone call to help them get started on it.
Wow.
And I offer everybody a 15-minute no-charge consultation with me that can be booked online from my site, any of the sites, touroflove.com and healthyfamilynow.com. I'm really here to help people, to be in service.
I love that, and I love that you that offer that. And so for everybody out there, it's Iam@drdream.com. Email him. He'll give you a PDF of the book, correct? And then a 15-minute reading or a conversation with Dr. Dream. So this is something that we really appreciate.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's IamDRDream.com. This doctor is not spelled all the way out, IamDRDream.com.
So when a lot of people that are listening today may not get to see you on your tour or at a lecture or at a conference. The book itself, it's a workbook, but somebody that playbook, excuse me, but a playbook that for somebody like myself, and I'm going to use this. I'm ADD. That we are like, oh God, what can help somebody like myself with the ADD? And I also have Epstein-Barr, because you mentioned it earlier. Mm-hmm. What can I do to increase my frequency without Dr. Dream in the room with me, or if I'm not able to talk to you via Skype or whatever?
Great question. And really, what you just asked is what I'm all about. I don't want people to need me as a crutch or anything like that. I pop into people's lives and I assist them in what they need. And some people I'll walk a little longer with on down the path than others, but it's really about empowering people. And so this playbook, 21 Days to Change the Conscious Creation Program, is all about giving people the experience in 21 days of the role they will allow themselves to play in creating, attracting, and manifesting the life of their dreams. And people will call me after 4 days and say, you won't believe what's happened. And I'm like, I will believe what's happened, but please share with me. Because what happens is, by and large, we don't give ourselves permission to dream. And if we do, it's this dream that's all the way over here. And it's just always going to be a dream. But this is about giving yourself permission to dream and then energizing it and then just being incredibly mindful and watching it all fall into place in your life. And that's the power that we have. They didn't want you to know this, but it's the power that we have. And I can assist people in cracking open, in expanding, and in experiencing the life of their dreams. That's what I'm here for.
This is an interesting question that just popped in my head because I've been following, seriously, I've been following metaphysicians, psychologists, the whole 9 yards for many, 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 many years, especially whenever I started waking up as an intuitive and wanted to have a better quality of life. There are not a lot of men in the spiritual movement, metaphysical movement, paranormal movement, or self-help movement. So what happens when you walk into an auditorium and there's 5,000 women sitting there and they see the only conscious man on stage? I would think sometimes that they respond to you like the Beatles of metaphysics.
Here's the thing, and I just am who I am. People, in what we do, people are readily available to put us up on pedestals, and I don't allow it. I'm not into that at all. I tell people the only time you'll see me on a pedestal is when we're all on that damn thing together, because we're all in this together, and I'm no different than anyone else. It's all energy, and so I'm just there to hold space and share energy, and I've been blessed in my life with a most amazing partner. I don't know if she's been on the show yet, Laura Eisenhower.
Oh yeah,
and
she's been on a couple times.
Yeah,
I love her.
So that aspect of my life then also, and so we're a very public couple, and so. Yeah, it's I'm just here to do what I do, and my ego, as well as I can, stays out of it. That's what I've seen in other people that do similar things to me. The ego gets going, and I can't even stand to be in the room with people like that. And so I keep myself in check, and I just want to be real. And what I share is real and from my experience.
Wow, that's a great answer. So women do throw themselves at you.
No, there's one woman in my life, and anytime she throws herself at me, I'm open.
We hope you are. Well, let's talk about...
we throw back and forth.
Let's talk... we have about 7 minutes left, and I want to make sure we get this in. Awaken in the Dream Radio with Dr. Dream. Do you still do your radio show?
Well, last year in September, end of September, around in there, I guess it was, we put the show on hiatus, and I keep looking to bring it back. We had almost 1 million listens at that point, and I'm sure compared to you guys, that's nothing, but for us, that was quite nice.
That's nice.
but it just it hasn't worked so well. I'm on the road. I never know when I'm going to have good cell or internet.
Yeah, that's true.
As it happens, right where I am today, I have better internet than the $100 a month that we were paying to Time Warner in Ventura. I got 75 on the download and 68 on the upload. So I want to do all my Skype stuff this week, and but the last 2 weeks I've barely been able to be online with my laptop. It's been all phone, so it gets challenging.
Well, no, you're coming through loud and clear, so
It's a high frequency.
It's a high frequency. Well, talk about what's coming up. Where are you going to be at, where people might be able to see you live, workshop, lectures, or anything like that?
Okay, I'm in Salem, Oregon right now, and for the next 9 days, I'm working out of Sacred Space Spiritual Community. We're doing an event tomorrow night, Saturday, a Universal Love Galactivation experience with 80 Tibetan bowls and all the other modalities. And then I'm working out of their center next week, Monday through Friday, from 10 in the morning till 6 at night, and then another galactivation a week from Saturday. And everything is by donation. And so really looking forward to this week. And then August 14th, 15th, and 16th, Laura and I have our second annual retreat weekend, Key Codes of Ascension, Unveiling the Inner Mysteries at Trout Lake, Washington, at James Gilliland's ESETI Ranch. And we had 60 people last year. It was incredible. And we're super excited this year. It's on a new moon weekend. That means night sky watch, everything else. And then August 28th, 29th, and 30th, I put the trailer into storage and I fly to Asheville, North Carolina with Laura. And we're at the 3 days of light gathering. Hope everyone can join us. And then Conspiracy Cruise that Rosemary was talking about, who was on before me. We're doing that January 24th to the 31st. And everything is listed at touroflove.com.
Touroflove.com. Wow. That's amazing. Well, you just have that just right. Bam, bam, bam.
It's not my first rodeo.
Well, you are a fascinating man, and I'd love to have you back if you willing to accept our invitation. But and hopefully, yes. All right. He raised his hands. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
it is.
Last time I seen him raise their hands, they beat me. No, it's
well, no, they were pushing him back.
But we really, really appreciate you, and I can feel the frequency already rising. So make sure you get 21 Days to Change, Dream the Biggest Dream by Dr. Dream Peebler, and it's Conscious Creations Program, and it's not a workbook.
It's a playbook. And you can get it by going to imdrdream.com.
Yes, and then take advantage of that 15 minutes of speaking with Dr. Dream.
I don't know. You're so high frequency and stuff.
So all people have to do is type in Dr. Dream into Google. Everything about me comes up, and join our email list. Laura does the astrology. We do picture of the week, link of the week, oil of the week. We really want to give everyone something.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll come back and have a great time on your tour and safe trip. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, guys. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. Eddie, are we doing your unlock?
Dude.
What does that mean?
No.
Okay. Fine. Well, then we are going to hit I've totally forgot I didn't know if you were going to
No, I sent the email. I didn't want to put you on blast.
Oh. You sent me an email?
Yeah, about this topic.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm like, what happened?
I'm feeling high frequency.
All right. Well, then that's it for us today. But we want you guys to, well, actually, you know what? We need to talk about what we just talked about. Because I think we should finish up by Eddie talking about the frequency, because that's something that you used to have a radio show called High Frequency Living.
Yep.
And I think for people out there, adding to Dr. Dream, that this is something that I think that people need in the world right now is high frequency, because if you go on any social media, any website, any news channel, pretty much any TV show, there's something that's always just
negative.
Negative and tearing away our high frequency. What can we do, Eddie, when we see this on a daily basis? What can we do to increase our high frequency?
It's a great question. And the direct answer, which sounds like I'm being smart-assy, but I'm not, is don't watch the news. and don't read the newspaper and don't read things that feel like negative propaganda to scare you into taking some kind of action one way or the other. And for me, high frequency is anything that makes you feel good as a human being, that makes you uniquely feels good to you. It doesn't have to be something that makes other people feel good. And so it's getting in the habit of locking into things that make you feel good,
Right.
that you feel are supporting you, things that you support back. It can be as simple as getting out in nature, taking your shoes off, putting your bare feet in the grass, and just being. So it's anything that makes you feel good from the inside out. And by feel good, I mean in your gut brain,
Right.
your gut feeling brain, your heart, mind, and then your whole brain. And making a habit out of doing that, thinking it, feeling it, breathing it, being it, expanding on it, and then letting more LOVE into your soul.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, we want to thank all of our guests tonight, Dr. Dream, Mark Peebler, and our first hour. We want to thank Rosemary Ellen Guiley. Yeah, I'm glad she corrected us on that.
I know that. I am too.
And so if you missed the shows or if you came in halfway through, you can always check it out on iTunes, Stitcher, and on TuneIn. You can go and just type in Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. And then this video will also be on YouTube. And just go to Truth Be Told on, I think it's Truth Be Told Web TV on .com, and you can see all of our archive shows and who's coming up. Next week we have a wonderful lady from MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, is going to be stopping in. They just finished their second season of Hangar 1. And then we have the psychic medium Vox, VOXX, is going to be in studio. So I think it's going to be a great show.
That's going to be crazy cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. I'm Tony Sweet.
I'm Eddie Connor.
You're listening to Truth Be Told on Universal Broadcasting Network. Now stick around at 6 o'clock for Shar Vision. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.